What up? What up? Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Grit and Grind Show, brought to you by the In Off the Bench Podcast Network. I'm Daniel Ball, your host as always. And today, the weather outside, it may be a little bit frightful. It's cold, it's snowy, it's icy, it's rainy, it's just nasty. But guess what? It gets better because inside the podcast studio today, we're going to be talking to 2024 United Grid League All-Star. A lot to say because he's got a lot of accolades from the Southwest Florida Sharks, Nick Shappee. But before Nick hops on here and talks to us about all things grid and Southwest Florida Sharks, we got to pay some bills. The sponsors, the Off the Bench Podcast Network, the Grid and Grind Show is brought to you by Chinook Seedery, 8 flavors, mild to wild. If you want the best sunflower seeds in the game, college baseball season's right around the corner, so I know you're trying to stock up. Go to your favorite grocery store, go to your favorite convenience store, your favorite gas station, and pick up a bag. Memphis City Designs, get your brands, gear, and logos on everything from shoes to underoos. You can get your in off the bench gear while supplies last. I got my hoodie on just in time because that cold snap is here. And this 50% cotton, 50% polyester blend in my team's color is what's keeping me warm and getting me through the nasty weather. Relief Chiropractic, Dr. Vic Robinson. I can't shout his praises enough. He's got the magic hands. He's rejuvenating people. He's adding years to their life. Go get a free consult. See what's going on for you. That way he can prescribe a tailored, customized program that's going to fit your needs. Not just a cookie cutter, just run-of-the-mill program that anybody can give you. He's going to look at the consultation results. He's going to prescribe and tailor a program that is right for you. I'm telling you, if you want to feel the best you've ever felt, go see my boy, Dr. Vic. And finally, Old Dominick Distillery. Experience 150 years of tradition in the heart of downtown Memphis. From bourbon to vodka, whiskey to gin, Old Dominick's got you covered. Stop in today for a tour or to pick up your favorite bottle. If you don't know what your favorite bottle is, I'm telling you, check the website out. It's very detailed. It gives you a palate orientation. It tells you exactly the taste, the flavors, the combinations, and how your spirit was made, when it was made, how long it took to make. And you can also stop in, and all the people in the shop, in the bar, they're also knowledgeable. They can tell you based on the things that you try, the things that you like. It doesn't even have to be Old Dominick. If it's any run-of-the-mill spirit, they can tell you if that's what you like. They'll find an Old Dominick that fits your palate. So check them out. Go get a bottle and tell them the In Off the Bench Podcast Network sent you. And with that, it's time to hop into the show with the biggest interview in podcasting this week. We got 2024 United Grid League All-Star from the Southwest Florida Sharks, Nick Shappee. Nick, dude, what's up, man? How we doing?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, it's your background is way better than mine because you fit exactly what's going on. You're out there grinding, man. You got the gym behind you. You got the weights. I mean, you got it all. The flags are flying in the back. You got the kids doing the kid stuff. You got the adults doing the adult stuff, man. Where is that located? Where are you?
So a lot of people know the area as Hilton Head, South Carolina, but I live in Bluffton, South Carolina, so it's on the way to Hilton Head. But I'm inside of a 12,000 square foot wrestling facility, and going high school and college wrestling. This is like the perfect place to put an athletic performance gym, pretty much. So I work with the guys and the wrestlers and all athletes from the community.
So you own Gunner Strength, and that's just your brand, and the gym behind you is just the gym that you work at or you coach at?
It's just I rent from this space,
Gotcha.
and obviously I've always wrestling was not huge in South Carolina, so with this facility being brand new and to the area, it kind of grew wrestling, and along with wrestling, you need to be strong. So a gym was already going to pretty much be present in this area. And then, I just was like, hey, I want to help out. And now I'm a part of it.
That's what's up. I mean, It's one thing to have a job, but it's another to have a passion for the job that you do and love what you do. And it seems like, wrestling is something that's near and dear to you. And obviously, getting strong and getting big is something that's near and dear to you too, because I see it on the grid. But being that you're in South Carolina, man, it's this is epiphany that I'm having over and over with athletes is that a lot of athletes that I talk to aren't necessarily located where their team is. And for you, is that a good thing, a bad thing? You're indifferent on it, or would it be easier just to be in the same spot that the team's located?
I mean, at first, when I first started doing grid, I feel like the sport was just like that. I feel like a couple of teammates you were with in the gym, and then the rest were trying to put together because you're trying to put together the best team in special spots. So, you don't have great special people rarely that all go to the gym. If you do, that's awesome. But from what 2015, when I started doing the grid league in China, like our team was put together, and it just seemed to work out. Like
Right.
it goes, how you attack each match. But I was a little indifferent before, but then it kind of grew on me and see really affect anything. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think it
definitely.
did. I think we've done great
I mean, it seems
as
to
a
work
team.
for
I think we've done
yeah,
awesome.
it seems to work for a lot of teams because the remote thing is, I think, a really unique way that athletes can be involved and be a part of teams in the grid league because they have that accessibility to being remote, and you don't get that in a lot of other professional sports. But I want to get back to wrestling. Did you get into fitness and working out and strength through sport as a kid doing wrestling, or was the weight room and a passion for that something you developed after that?
Yeah, the weight room came a young kid. I was extremely young, not extremely young, but I was just a young kid, and I had a very active life. Grew up in Hawaii, and we lived on a military base, and so it was at the time, like during that time, I'm 36, so during that time in like the early, 95 to 2001, you can just let your kids go. Like you can go out and play. So I just ran around the whole base all by myself. On my bike everywhere, go to the skate park, and I would go to the gym. We would go to the gym all the time. We lived at the skate park, but we would like go to the gym and just work out as like 10-year-olds. And they would let us in. And Marines would help us, like, hey, you need help with this? And it became like a daily thing, and I had great support from my parents and playing inline roller hockey like a lot there. And
Wow.
so like I was always small. So I just was like, my mom's like, if you want to, not get beat up around, and you need to have your protein shakes after you work out. So since 10 years old, it's been the same thing, like every day. Like go to the gym, shakes, don't, and be the best at your sport you can be. So yeah, since a young age, I've just been inside the gym, and I've loved it. And I've always wanted to bring people with me.
Yeah, it's
So
always
throughout the years, since 10, and then when I moved to South Carolina, people. I try to get people to join me.
yeah, it's always way more fun with friends. When the more people you can bring along on the journey, the better. Hence why, a lot of people get into CrossFit is the social aspect of being in a gym with like-minded people. But it's funny to me how, what people don't understand is your mom's like, you got to have that protein shake after you work out. But being a wrestler, I'm sure like if you are having to gain weight, it's extremely difficult. If you're trying to put weight on as a wrestler or even as an athlete, roller hockey or whatever the case is, it can be difficult at times to do that. Um, but for you, obviously, I've looked at some photos on social media and saw like, fitness is, not bodybuilding per se. It may be bodybuilding, but like there are you doing fitness competitions of all magnitudes. So did you find those or did you find grid first?
I kind of, went wrestling, CrossFit, and then I once I got out of college, I wanted to be a coach. So I wanted to bias myself towards certain sports. So I was like, cool, let me go learn only. Let me go learn this and this only. So it was like Olympic weightlifting, CrossFit, grid, and then bodybuilding, and then back to grid. So I just wanted to learn as a coach. And then I, as my a like a I needed something to work for. Grid was just a short little season that started, so I was able to prioritize what I wanted to do in the weight room or what I wanted to do at the gym, and biasing myself that helped me become not crappy at everything. Like I didn't suck at things. Like I was still able to do gymnastics and be pretty good at it. Really heavy weight. Also able to move extremely fast. So it was just good to kind of bias and learn coaching standpoint first, and then I kind of went into everything.
All right, so let's talk about your journey into grid. You didn't start with the Sharks. You started with the Gainesville Wild, is that correct? And then kind of progressed, and now then you became with the Sharks. So how does
Yeah,
that journey? How does that happen?
yeah. So my journey to uh, the Florida Grid League started during COVID. I was I had just finished bodybuilding, and Coach Dan from the Wild actually messaged me because he was from the Atlanta Wild. But anyways, Dan reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, I saw your videos because I just started getting into cleans and like I started doing like barbell cycling." Um, and he reached out to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to do this tournament?" I was like, "Oh man, I haven't done that in a long time. I haven't crossed in a long time. This is the first time I'm starting to move a bar. But yeah, I'll do it." So I jumped right into it. I was like, "Yeah, I'll just start going." And ever since then, it was like Dan was like, "All right, go to this thing." And then it was like the As One tournament down at Valor. And then it just took off from there. And I was like, "This is perfect." I was like, "I got a season. I could work hard. I got a team. This is fun." And it's what I like to do. I didn't have to do anything that was like not what I like doing.
Right.
I got to move fast.
So, with Dan, the Gainesville Wild is a team, and then from everything that I've seen, Gainesville branched out and became the Atlanta Wild, and now it's the United Grid League. So, how do you get linked up with the Southwest Florida Sharks?
Yeah. So what? How did we get into that? I feel like it was a while ago. We uh, we had a group. I can remember we had like a group um, that wanted to stick together, and we were like, "What do we do?" Um, you know, these people are leaving. The team seems like it's kind of going in its own separate ways. I was like, "Well, I'm on my team, and I want you on my team. Let's maybe stick together." So we had like 4 or 5 of us that wanted, and uh, out of all the teams, I was like, I like the Sharks.
Right.
I just I think the Sharks are good. I feel like us as a cohesive unit would fit better as a puzzle piece with the Sharks. I feel like um, if we went into another team, it would have been too much like budding. Uh, we had pretty strong coming from the game a while. We were very tough on each other. We were like the group chat was ruthless. It was ruthless. Like, you send in a video, you weren't doing the right stuff. I mean, you're called out, like, boom, on the spot. Like, those sucked. You weren't any good. Move faster. Like, you need to do better. You should probably not do that movement. Just to be honest, like, it was like either work on it and do it right, or just like figure out something else to do. And
Right.
it helped us a ton because we were super transparent, and it come together. And we knew when we came together, we knew exactly who can do what, because we were so ruthless about it. We're like, oh, I know you can do it. We saw it. Like, and you're going to prove it because you proved it already, and you proved it again. And that, it helped out a lot. When we transitioned, for some of the people that, for some of us, myself, Sammy, that went on to we got into the group chat, and we were pretty honest with that stuff. Again, we were very used to sending videos in. What are your times? Everything, like, super detailed when we came to communicating in the group chat with our team and what our skills we were supposed to do. And so people would send videos in or didn't, and we were like, hey, what the hell? Why aren't you guys sending things in? Like, we need to know these things. And people would send them in, and it would look like crap, and we would just call them out, and it got really bad, pretty quick. I remember we had to have a side talk with the coach, and like, you guys should probably simmer down a little bit. And I was like, dude, that's not me. Like, that's not us. Like, you should have seen our you guys see Blake Kidder. He's pretty intense. And we like fed off of Blake, and that's kind of how the group chat went. And it wasn't going well with the team. It wasn't going well at all. But I think it helped. It helped us a lot. There's so much more communication with the team, and I think that's what made us super successful this year, and last year, just kind of like ramping up. Now we're just fitting some small pieces where they need to be to hopefully win the championship.
Now, I've heard a lot about these group chats and these on different teams, and it gets crazy, it gets wild, but at the same time, you got to be able to hold people accountable. And it seems like Nick, as a veteran of the league, and probably a guy that the team looks up to, you're now utility player of the year, you're a 2024 all-star, so like now you add those to the resume, so like you're a trusted veteran. Like, outside the coach, like, you have to have people on the team holding others accountable, or you're not going to reach the level of success that you guys did this past season. And that's kind of where I want to get to next. Is you guys, for all intents and purposes, you had a successful season. You were the #1 overall seed going into the playoffs. You made your way through the playoffs, made it to the championship, but you came up short. So I'll ask you, because you strike me as a guy that's very intense. Like, you want to get after it. You want to win. The competitive nature I can see and hear in your voice. When you have a season like this year, what's the takeaway? Is it a success? Is it a failure because you didn't win at all? Or like, what is the outlook when you think about the 2024 season as a whole?
This season, I think, was a great success. We felt more than just like a grid athlete. We felt from our coaches. Our coaches made us feel and took care of us like we were like a professional, like we were taken care of. And that leaves a really good foundation for us athletes to just do what we need to do and not have to worry about, traveling and lodging and this, all these other things that we had to think about. Like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. I don't know if I have the money, blah, blah, blah. We just got to focus on us athletes. And then, as the veterans, we got to, really tell all the new people on the team who were legit, really get into a groove of like, you need to send your videos, you need your time, and we just kept that up as consistent as possible. And it didn't stop. It was all the way up until the day before. We were on top of things, um, and I think that's what helped this season be very successful. Um, we were able to just communicate. We knew exactly what we needed to do. I knew what this person needed to do. I knew what this person needed to do. They knew what I could do. And we had plan A, B, and C. And it seemed seamless when we went out there. I think it went great. Um, when it got to the championship, again, we were like fully confident. I was just like, it's just another match. Let's go in, do what we have to do, and we can make it happen. Um, and we did fall short. That's no fun, but you can't say it was an unsuccessful season if we made it to the championship, and we tried very hard. We did everything we can, and it was back and forth. And things went towards the refs, and some things went towards them, and when things went towards us. But I was like, that's competing. Like that's
Yeah.
when it gets narrowed down to the championship. It's everybody is good, so it's a competition, and it was a great competition. That was competing, and not everything's easy. Championship doesn't come easy, so I think it was a great success. I think we had a great time.
Let me ask you this, if you look back, and obviously you said, like it's competing. That's what you want. You want to, even if you fall short, you want to take on who you consider is the best or someone who's proven that they're the best. In the Wild, they proved that they were the number 2 overall seed. So it's not like they didn't put the work to get there. But when you look at,
Yeah.
that match, was there anything differently that you felt you could have done personally, or the team, could have been more efficient on, that maybe would have made a difference? Or do you think the Wild just had a great day and they were just the better team that day?
Yeah, we there was, like I said, it was a team thing. It was a lot that could have gone better. There's some small details that were missed in some races that caused us to fall behind when we really shouldn't have fallen behind. So there was some small details that happened, and it was like dumb mistakes, like not going in the right spot when you get done with the movement, stuff like that. Um, just dumb mistakes, and you can't do nothing about it. Some people that weren't used to that were doing, and they didn't necessarily do bad at the movements. They just didn't know where to go after that, and for a split second, multiple times, that put us behind, making races way too close, especially against a great team like them, where they're going to keep fighting and fighting and fighting. Um, there's just some small mistakes that kind of built up towards the very end, and even on my end, like I blamed stuff myself. Obviously, I hold myself at a high standard, but like my legs were cooked. Like at one point, like they were just. I didn't even know if I could move. Like I was like, they're so dead, and I had to go out there, and uh, when you're that fatigued, your mental aspect has to really be sharp. And I just made a stupid mistake, and um, I feel like it cost us. When we could have won a match. A bunch of small things that built up, but um, I feel like that's about it.
Yeah, it's tough when you're talking about a sport that, milliseconds and half of a second like determines winner and loser, and points based on, winners, that 1 point extra that you would get like matters. And you can't fall too far behind, but you also understand like you may not win every race, but you could still be in it. The one thing that you can't do is you can't create those deficiencies based on your movement patterns or your, communication or your mistakes that you make on your end, especially in a match that has the implications and the magnitude as a championship match. So, I mean, it's probably, hindsight looking back on it, yeah, there's some things you could have cleaned up, but in the moment, like you're just doing the best that you can do. And, maybe that's something you guys can carry with you as far as motivation going into the next season. But, I'll ask you, Nick, like what's off season look like and, what's next for you personally?
Oh man, that's my favorite part. My favorite part is definitely like the season's fun. Like getting in there and competing is great. It's the cherry on top of all the hard work you put in the off season. So I take the off season super serious. I phase it out, and and I get myself ready. I went to college as a strength coach, strength and conditioning. So being a college wrestler, we had to prioritize things, and I feel like relating wrestling to this sport is very similar because you have to move fast and you're moving heavier weights, not necessarily a person. You have like mentally focused throughout the whole season, and the race. There's a lot. It's an hour and a half about, and you're just like going,
Yeah.
going, going. So off season, the off season here, I'll start it like so. It gets over, matches are over, we get back, and we go straight into strength training. We squat, we bench, we deadlift, we overhead press, we do core, all strict movements, basic strict. I stay on for about 2 months, because the body has been moving fast forever. So we need to like get everything strong again. Let's build a base back up again. So we start with like 8 weeks just being strong. And now I have like Sammy, now my girlfriend, I have her roped into it now. So it's like, usually she's like, she was a high level CrossFitter. She went to semifinals and stuff like that this year. And now her off season looks completely different because I'm making her do strength training. Very strict. So it's very hard to like we're not doing cardio. We're not doing,
Yeah.
we're not
She's like, slow down.
going out and hitting some
you
hard
talking
wads, nothing. And it was hard to stop that.
You can take the girl out of
But
CrossFit.
moving
You
on
can't
into it,
get
now
the
we're
girl
getting
out of the
into
girl.
our speed training. So we're being speed and explosiveness. No, nope. So now those months are over. So we're moving into speed and explosiveness. A little bit of barbell work, moving the moderate weight pretty fast. Getting our sprints in. That it's prioritized. It's like 3 times a week. We're moving. We're doing like a sprint program, like a track sprinter, like a sprinter would. So it's very biased towards just like being creating an adaptation in your muscles to move very explosively. Um, and then once that is over, and so it's in about 13 weeks, that will be done, and we will get into some very specific grid training. So we're
Nice.
not bad at those. We're obviously doing movements that we've done like our whole life. So it's like, why do I need to go practice that a gazillion times? Like I don't need to practice doing like a wall ball. Like I don't need to do that. Like I know how to do wall ball. I know how to do cleans. Now it's like, let's see if we can take the small things and see if we can work on those. Like, how do you take a high level professional athlete and make them better? Well, I'm trying to treat myself that way too. How do I take something very small and the deficit that I have or deficiency that I have and make it that much better in every aspect of my movements.
Yeah, it almost makes sense because like what people don't know is like, the barbell movements are complex in nature. There's different positions that you got to hit for that barbell to move seamlessly. And if one or two of the positions are good, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to go and hammer those that you're good at. You need to hammer the one that you're not, while still maintaining and working on the ones that you're good at. But also, like, in a sport like grid, it's about efficiency of movement. And so when you go to what's hindering you from being the most efficient, that's where you got to zone in. That's where you've got to tailor your workouts to get better in those particular areas. And it's not necessarily the full movement all the way. Like a wall ball is a simple movement in in and of itself, but there's components to it: the squat, and then the press of the ball, and then the catch, and then the lower back down. I mean, so you're talking about, well, of those four areas, like, is there a part of that that's slowing me down when I'm trying to do wall balls? That's what I want to
Exactly.
get better at, not going out and doing Karen, once a week
Yeah.
just because it's 150 wall balls.
Yeah.
That's not doing you any good.
Yeah.
But I'll
So
ask you, go ahead.
yeah, so there's like many things that that while training, uh, I don't necessarily need to put stress on my body. Like for example, rebounding like a box jump. Like, yeah, I know how to jump on a box. Learning how to get my feet up there quicker and jump over won't take me a week. It won't take me 2 weeks. It won't take me. I don't need to do box jumps for a month and do them fast every day or every other day. I can do that like 2 times, like leading up to it. I can do it once and just be like, yep, I got it down. Like I'm not a beginner athlete. I'm gonna learn how to jump on a box. Pretty freaking simple, very fast. And then I'm like, okay, got it, and move on. There's no reason for me to keep pounding my Achilles into the ground all the time just to learn to move a little bit faster. It's like, no, I'm gonna move faster. I'm a good athlete. I'm going to be moving fast. Oh, there you
Let
go.
me let me ask you this. How long did it take you did you practice this at all? Or is this one of those things where I know I can do a burpee, I know I can deadlift the dumbbells, I know that I can jump on a box, so I should be able to do it all together? Or did you practice doing this? Because the 50 pounds
this
in each
is this.
hand, like, that's not for people that are looking at this, they're like, if you've never done a box jump or picked up 250-pound dumbbells, you're probably looking at this going, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal." But try it, and I'll tell you right now, that is
Yeah,
way harder than it looks. It is unimaginable to me that you are able to not do this
yeah,
once, but to do this over and over. So is that a skill that you're talking about, where I don't
yeah.
necessarily need to practice these things? I know that I can do them individually, so I should be able to do them together. Or do you practice these 50-pound weighted box jumps?
Okay, so to I'll Tarantino this thing. So um I practiced once. I did it one time, and it's
Get
because
out of here.
uh, when I go to the gym, like I said, when I go to the gym and we train, like Sammy's, well, yeah, we train together. So I'm gonna bring her up a bunch. Like we train together. She's dialed. She's like, we should do this, work on this, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, nah. I was like, I don't know if I can do that. I'm good. I can do that. And she's like, well, you're gonna fail at this. And I'm like, then that's on me. But I feel like I don't necessarily have to do that. So we were actually in California at David Blatt's gym. We were at his
Okay.
gym, and so we were practicing all sorts of stuff, and I was like, I was over it. I was like, I'm just gonna go do something else. So we got to the box jumps, and I was like, they were rebounding box jumps, and I was like, I don't want to rebound box jumps. That's so boring. I was like, oh well, I have the dumbbells, and coach wants me to practice these. I haven't practiced them, so I was like, I bet you I can jump on those boxes. And David and Sammy were like, you won't do it. And so I'm pretty sure jumping with 50
That's
pounds is easy. I feel like it's easy because I used to jump on boxes with dumbbells all the time, and 50 pounds was like a starting weight. So I was like, one, I'm way stronger than I was before, and it's just 50 pounds. Like you can curl 50 pounds easy. So I was like, jumping with strong legs, picking the dumbbell up. I feel like it's going to be a piece of cake. So they were like, how many do you have? I was like, I think I have like 12. I was like, let me do 5 of them and then film it and let's see what they look like. And then maybe I'll do it again. And then I got into it and I was like 5 in. I'm like, nope, I'm going to do all 12. And I just zoomed on through it. And they were like, holy shit, we should send this to the group. Are these allowed? And coach was like, don't fucking post that. He's like, don't say nothing about it. And I was like, okay, yeah, sounds good. Sounds good to me. I was like, I could definitely do that again. So it wasn't hard. But going to the match, I had to do some extra leg work. And my legs, before I did those box jumps, were toasted. They were dead. I was like, I was
you didn't
shaking my
account for
legs.
that. You didn't account for
No,
that part.
I finished triad, and triad already blows ass.
Yeah.
It sucks. So I finished triad, shaking my legs, and I had to do some extra stuff before that. And I'm like, I went around. I wish they had just the live feed. Like, I remember sitting on the ground, and I'm like, they're like, Nick, you ready to go? And I'm like, yeah, I'll be ready. And I'm sitting on the floor. I'm like, I don't know if my legs work. And I went up to coach, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, like, can you have someone ready? Just have someone ready. Like, I'm going to do it. Just have someone ready in case I start to move slow, and I'm going to dip out of here because I'm like, 2 feet away from the start line.
Right.
So I was like, just have someone ready that can just go over these boxes. And not a whole lot of people on the team, I don't know if they saw the video or not, but once I started going, it got loud in there. And people were like, after I going back and watching the video, everyone was like going bananas. And I was like, yeah, I can't feel my legs.
You've totally, I think, on that movement, you've changed. You're a game changer, man. You've changed how people are going to have to practice. You've changed the how it has to be done, because now if you are going up against Nick Shappee in that movement, you know what he's bringing. So you're going to either have to match that or you're going to get beat. So I think that's probably one of the things that a lot of teams are probably going to be looking at, going, all right, what movements did people do better than us and how did they do it? And this is a clear indication of a different way of doing something that is way more efficient, way more effective, and much faster. So I just think it's funny that, like, you're like, oh, I'll do 5 of these, and then you do 12 of them just right out the rip, never have just believing in yourself that you can do it, and then you just go out and do it. That's crazy. I will say, I think I would have had a little bit of like anxiousness doing it in front of everybody for the first time, just being like, all right, I showed them this video. They're expecting me to be able to do this. If I go out here and I suck, like, this is going to be bad.
Well, the fear of, like, if you look at all the comments, people are like, like shins, Achilles shins. And I was like, that's what got me over the box, was not like the fear of hitting my shins. I was like, I'm getting over this fucking box. And when I practiced it, I actually did it higher. I did it at, I think the box was a little bit higher. And they're like, oh, it'll be lower when you do it for the match. And I was like, oh, I'm totally doing this.
I don't think anybody, if you're doing this, you have to practice it on a wooden box. You can't practice it on like a padded block. You've got to do the box just to have that fear.
You have to have a little bit of fear. There's some good motivation.
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure. With you, it sounds like, everything's moving in the direction that you are, or you have re-signed with the Sharks. Is that the case?
Yeah. It was without a doubt going back to the Sharks, keeping the team together, especially who we have now, and just like I said, when it comes to, like you said, when a team comes and goes against us, they know what some of us can do, and it's just like, for example, like they know I'm going to probably doing those box jumps and stuff like that, so they have to account for that. If we can make a team have to account more often for a lot of players, for a lot more movement, it's going to be really hard to beat us, and it's going to be a challenge for teams to create a game plan to go against us. So keeping a lot of us together that have those, especially like our bodyweight specialists, our strength specialists, us as utility guys, and then even everybody else that fills in. I mean, it's so good. I look back on the time, even if I wasn't there, like there was still more people that could do what I was doing. You know, maybe not the box jump as quick, but I think a couple of us got it down pretty quick. But um, going back to the Sharks was without a doubt going to happen.
Nice, nice. I'll say this.
Yeah, I signed it.
You nice. There it is. Nick Shappee's back with the Sharks. They're gonna run it back. For you, this will be the last question. I'll let you get out of here, man. When you
No,
are
you're fine.
You're an all-star. You're the utility player of the year. And if I remember correctly, I look at the MVP race and you were right there. I mean, like as close as you could possibly be there.
It was there.
I want to say it was a tie, and then it came down to some criteria after. But when it comes to stuff like that, is that what it's about? Is trying to be the MVP of the league, or is it winning the championship? What is it for you?
Oh, definitely like the team, the championship. Like that's definitely what it's all about. I can care less about the, the things that I'm doing. I enjoy the journey more than anything. So I love like just trying to be a better athlete as myself, and then how it goes, how I can practically do it. But uh, you know, not almost getting MVP and being in the league uh, for a long time, and then doing grid for a long time, and just being like that close, and like, that'd be nice, that'd be cool. I've been talking about grid in my town for freaking years, and they're like, oh, what? Oh, I do grid. What is that? And I explained it to them. So I've been doing it a lot, and I post about it a bunch. All my clients know what it is. So it would be cool to have it, especially because I've been doing it for a long time. But a championship would be a hell of a lot better.
Hey, it's definitely rewarding. It's just validation of the hard work that you put in. But I think for you, like maybe the championship and an MVP go hand in hand. Maybe if you guys win, it's because you once again put in an MVP level performance over the course of the year. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or even better, I'll one up you. Maybe you're such a good coach and trainer that Sammy is the MVP next year. And then you have to
She
eat,
can win it
then you have
again.
to eat you have to eat that.
Yeah,
So
she's won it before, so
there you
if she
go.
wins it again, that would be cool. If she can get a two-timer, but whatever, it's in the household, right? We got MVP.
Yeah. She's just she looks at her watch and she's like, "Hey man, like it's time. Or what you gonna do
Yeah,
this or what? I mean, I got
yeah,
one over there. What are you doing?"
yeah. I mean, she
Yeah.
was my biggest support. She was my absolute biggest support when it comes to this season. This season was mentally probably it was the hardest year of my life this year. It was very tough. It was a tough year. And having her by my side and get me through a lot of the downs, the many downs, and I went through stress for like the first time ever in my life, like actual stress that like I had injuries and aches and pains where it's like I didn't even know I had those, and they would just come up because my stress levels were so high, and I was like, wow, this is what a stressed body feels like, and I tried really.
Yeah, while Nick's reconnecting, I'll just go ahead and plug a few things. Old Dominic Distillery, like I said earlier in the intro, 150 years of tradition. They're in the heart of downtown Memphis. You can go on the website. You can get bourbon. You can get vodka. You can get whiskey. You can get gin. You can get it all. Um, but I do recommend, talking to the workers there, talking to the family that they have created because they're so knowledgeable about the product. They're also knowledgeable about just the spirit game as a whole. They can help lead you away from big name brands to smaller brands that are just as good. They can lead you to the big brands as well, but they want to open up your mind and let you see what all is out there. Chinook Seeds, biggest supporter of the In Off the Bench podcast, that we've had, our first sponsor and still current sponsor. And, with them, a lot of the things that we do wouldn't be possible. So shout out to Chinook Seeds. 8 flavors, mild to wild. I mean, if you're not on Chinook Seeds, like, trust me, check them out. You're getting the big sunflower seed for half the price, and the flavors are just insane. You can actually mix and match the flavors and make your own flavor combination. My favorite flavor combo is the smokehouse barbecue and the cinnamon toast. You mix them together. It's called smoke and toast. You heard it here first. I promise you. Get you a handful of each of those, throw them in, and you won't be disappointed. But with that, it looks like Nick is back with us. Nick.
Oh man, sorry, phone it died.
No, it's all good. I was it gave me a chance to talk about our sponsors again and give them some more time. But as we wrap up here, you got to tell Sammy she's got to come on first and foremost. And two,
Okay.
what is the competitive, are you too competitive, like, at each other, or are you more like supportive? Because I can see in some scenarios, like, it can get hostile, it can get heated, in a gym setting when you're pushing to get better and better.
Yeah.
So I ask you, like, where do you guys stand in that continuum? Are you on the, like, competitive end, or are you on the more supportive end?
We get it's a good mixture of both. We support each other a ton just by uh, enjoying the journey more. So these small wins, we congratulate each other, like, hey, good job, you're moving faster. That looks so much better than last week, whatever, etc. It gets tough to kind of it's hard in certain scenarios. So like when it comes to like a lot of this strength training and explosiveness, like she's like, what the fuck? Why do you move like that? How are you jumping like that? Or why are you floating in the air? Or like how do you move that weight so fast or something like that? I'm like, no, I just can do it, I guess. I don't know. And we just support each other a lot. When it comes to, grid and, stuff that's a little bit more grid and some CrossFit stuff, I just give it to her. I'm like, oh yeah, you're good at it. Like, that's not me. I'm not even any good. Like, yeah, we don't talk too much shit on each other. Sometimes we'll nitpick at each other, but we kind of like, it's the best of both worlds, I guess.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
fun.
I mean,
It makes training a lot of fun.
I've converted, well, for the past 5 years. I've done the majority of my training solo in the garage, and that's strictly because I had kids in the schedule. But I was in a gym, and a CrossFit gym. I was a level 2 coach, and I was doing all that. And I the type of person where I can train with a weird intensity by myself, but
Cool.
it's never as fun as having someone there with you. So anytime someone's like, "Hey, can I come over and train with you?" I'm like, "Absolutely." So,
Oh yeah.
like, for you, it's probably nice to know that, every day there's that opportunity, like, no matter how good or bad this training session goes, I got this person that's in my corner, this person that's backing me, and we're going to push each other to be better, but we're also going to lift each other up when we're not having, our best day. So,
Oh yeah.
shout out
100%.
to both of y'all for being there for each other. I mean, that's what you gotta have, baby. That's what it's all
Yeah.
about.
Oh yeah.
Um,
It's freaking awesome. We'll be trading here in a little bit when she gets back.
nice.
But yeah, like I said, you were. I came from the same spot. Like I used to just train by myself. Actually, trained in here by myself a lot, and I would just turn off the lights, and
Yeah.
I would turn off the lights and just like get into like wrestling mode and just like suffer. Like I would just suffer, just be in here, just looking at the ceiling sometimes, just hurting. and I enjoyed like every bit of it. And I'd finish doing like I love EMOM. Shout out EMOM Company. I did their stuff. I do Brandon stuff a ton. Once we get closer, just to keep us on track. And I would get done doing those like god awful like EMOMs, 30, 40 minutes, and then I would just go run sprints on the wrestling mat because it made me feel like I was in wrestling mode again, and just die. Like I just felt like I was dying, and I probably need to incorporate that a little bit more this year, since we're going to be way more explosive athletes and we're going to need to require a hell of a lot more oxygen in our body.
Yeah, you gotta go back to training in darkness and silence. You gotta
Yeah.
go back to the roots. You're getting soft, man. You gotta harden yourself a little bit.
Oh man, got to stay hard. David
That's
Goggins,
right. That's
huh?
right. There you go. All right, Nick, man, I'm gonna let you run. Get back to your thing. I appreciate you taking time to join us today. Anything you want to plug or promote before you get out of here?
Oh man, shout out to Herb. Yeah, they've come up with some great stuff for us. Shout out to I had all my food over there. Re-up. I'm constantly throwing down some re-up element. And then all my spot, 10 performance, earth bend muscle. And then everybody else, our T-Mobile for the Sharks. So shout out to everybody, all those guys. Um,
Look.
but yeah, that's about it. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries, man. Hey, have a happy, safe, healthy, injury-free, successful 2025 grid season with the Sharks, and I'm sure you'll see me around there getting some coverage and talking to you guys. So I'll be in touch for sure.
Awesome, man. I'll come pop on in again.
Let's go. That's Nick Shappee, everybody. If you like hearing Nick's story or you just like hearing us average Joes talk X's and O's, please share the podcast on Facebook, retweet us on X, listen and subscribe wherever you stream your podcast. Go over to YouTube, hit like, hit subscribe, hit notifications. That way you're the first to find out when new content drops. Stick around. We have a weird off day tomorrow. It's a hump day. We're getting over the hump, doing some things, probably put some content out, some videos. But on Thursday, we're talking to Orlando Aces star Janine Nicole. And then on Friday, we're ending the week with South Beach Palm star Briley Hanson. So with that, this has been the In Off the Bench Podcast Network's Grid and Grind Show. Always remember, strong body, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We are out.